You know that feeling when you're waiting for someone to show up and fix your life? Maybe a friend, a mentor, or just a bit of luck. But nobody ever knocks at your door, and nothing really changes? It's easy to fall into that trap, hoping that someone will believe in your dreams more than you do, or that one day the timing will magically be right. But the world keeps spinning, and life doesn't stop for anyone. If you've ever caught yourself thinking, "Why isn't anyone helping me?" Or "How come no one sees how hard I'm trying?" You're not alone. But here's the hard truth. Nobody is coming. And that's actually the most freeing thing you'll ever realize. Because when you stop looking around for a lifeline, you start building your own. And that's where real growth begins. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now, today, with you. In this video, we're going to break down exactly why waiting for support is holding you back, how the need for approval quietly sabotages your success, and the real reason why discipline will always beat motivation in the long run. But there's one mindset shift, just one, that separates people who keep waiting from the people who win. And I'll tell you what it is if you stick with me. Because by the end of this video, you're going to look at your challenges and your power to change them in a way you never have before. Picture this. You wake up to the alarm, roll over, and scroll your phone for a while, telling yourself you'll get started in a minute, but the day just drifts by, and all those dreams and plans you thought about last night are still sitting in the maybe tomorrow pile. You keep waiting for the right sign, or maybe just a little push from someone who gets what you're going through, but every time you look around, it's just you and your thoughts, and nobody's reaching out to give you a hand. Maybe you talk to a friend, hoping they'll give you the encouragement you need, but their words are never enough to get you moving, and deep down, you know it's not their job anyway. So, you go back to scrolling, wishing things were different, and then you beat yourself up for not having started yet, like you're stuck in this never-ending loop of waiting, hoping, and feeling left behind. If that sounds a little too familiar, it's because almost everyone has felt this way at some point, standing at the edge of something better, but waiting for permission, support, or just the right mood to show up. But what if that waiting is actually the very thing holding you back from the life you keep imagining? What if the difference between staying stuck and finally moving forward is as simple as deciding that you don't need anyone's push but your own? It might sound cold, but here's the truth. Nobody wants to say out loud. Most people aren't thinking about your dreams, your struggles, or whether you succeed or fail, because everyone is busy fighting their own battles. We grow up hearing that someone will notice our effort, that someday someone will come along to rescue us or cheer us on. But if you look around, you'll realize life doesn't work like that. And the sooner you accept this, the faster things will change for you. It's not because people are cruel or don't care at all. It's just that their minds are filled with their own worries, plans, and what's next on their list. So expecting the world to notice your grind is like shouting into the wind and hoping for an echo. A study out of Harvard found that people spend nearly half their waking hours thinking about something other than what they're actually doing. Which means even if someone does notice your struggle, they probably forget it by the end of the day. Not because it's personal, but because everyone is just trying to keep up with their own life. Now, this might feel heavy at first, but think about what it really means, because it's actually your greatest advantage. When you stop waiting for a cheerleader, you become your own, and suddenly you're not dependent on anyone else's approval, encouragement, or validation to move forward. The moment you stop looking for someone to save you, you start to realize that you have more power than you ever imagined, and that's the turning point that changes everything. Instead of wishing the world would finally pay attention, you can focus all your energy on building the life you want. And the truth is, that kind of focus is unstoppable. You've probably had moments when rejection stung or silence from the people you counted on left you doubting yourself, and it's easy to think maybe you're just not cut out for more. But what if I told you that's exactly how the most driven people in the world started out? Think about all the stories you've heard. Athletes who didn't make the team, entrepreneurs who got turned down by every investor, creators who posted videos that nobody watched at first, but instead of quitting, they turned that disappointment into fuel. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for TV, and J.K. Rowling got more rejection letters than she could count before Harry Potter became a household name. But they all have something in common. They stopped looking for someone else to believe in them and started betting on themselves. It's not about pretending you never feel hurt or left out. It's about what you do next, because pain is proof you care. And if you can take that sting and turn it into motivation, you'll move further than anyone waiting for applause. Every no, every cold shoulder, every time someone doubted you, that's just free energy for your journey. If you decide to use it, and once you start turning your pain into power, you become the kind of person who can't be stopped by outside opinions or setbacks, because you know how to get up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward. That's how people with ordinary lives end up doing extraordinary things, not because someone else gave them a break, but because they turned every closed door into a reason to knock harder. Let's talk about something that quietly drains your energy: the need for other people's approval. It's sneaky, because sometimes you don't even notice it. You post your progress online, or you mention your goals in a conversation, hoping for a little encouragement or a pat on the back. But when it doesn't come, or worse, when someone laughs or doubts you, it feels like your excitement fizzles out in seconds. If you wait for everyone to clap for you before you start moving, you'll be standing still for the rest of your life. Because the truth is, most people are too busy with their own stuff to notice, and even if they do, their opinions don't pay your bills or put in the hours for you. Think about how many great ideas, bold dreams, or even simple habits die before they ever see the light of day, all because someone was too afraid of being judged, misunderstood, or not taken seriously. And that fear of disapproval is like quicksand for your potential. You don't need a green light from the world to start working on yourself. And you definitely don't need permission to chase something that matters to you, because the most successful people in any field weren't the ones who waited to be understood. They were the ones who decided to go all in, even when nobody got it but them. The moment you stop letting other people's opinions hold you hostage, you unlock a new level of freedom, and your progress isn't chained to who's watching or cheering, but to how much you're willing to show up for yourself every single day. So, if you've been holding back, waiting for approval, remember, the world doesn't need to get it for you to start growing, only you do. So, how do you actually build the kind of self-belief that doesn't get knocked over by a bad day or someone's sideways comment? It starts by understanding that confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, one tiny win at a time, and the easiest way to start is to keep promises to yourself, even the small ones. When you say you're going to wake up early, finish a project, or just get outside for a walk, and then you actually do it, your brain takes notes, and over time, these little victories start stacking up, slowly transforming how you see yourself. It doesn't have to be big or flashy. Maybe you just write down 3 things you're grateful for every night, or you track your progress with a simple notebook or a notes app. And before you know it, you've got a list of proof that you're the kind of person who shows up, even on hard days. There's a study from the University of London that found it takes about 66 days, on average, to form a new habit. So if you can just stick with something long enough to make it a routine, you're already beating 90% of people who quit before the magic happens. That's where discipline comes in, because motivation is great when it's there. But let's be honest, it's like a friend who only shows up when the weather is nice, so you can't depend on it to carry you through the grind. The real magic is in doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. And the more you do this, the easier it gets, because discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets, and before long, you'll surprise yourself with just how much you can accomplish, even on the days you'd rather stay in bed. Self-belief isn't about never doubting yourself. It's about taking action anyway, proving to yourself that you're tougher than your excuses, and letting the evidence of your own effort drown out the noise from the outside world. Let's get one thing straight. If you're waiting for motivation to strike before you take action, you're signing up for a lifetime of maybe tomorrow and missed chances, because motivation comes and goes, but habits and systems stick around when things get tough. Think about athletes who train at dawn, or writers who fill up notebooks before most people have had breakfast. They don't show up just because they feel inspired. They show up because they've built routines that run on autopilot, and it's those routines that get results, not bursts of excitement. Science backs this up. A Duke University study found that about 45% of our daily actions aren't decisions, they're habits. which means your environment and systems quietly shape your life way more than how pumped up you feel in the moment. So, how do you build systems that work for you, even when your mood says not today? Start simple. Lay out your gym clothes before you go to bed if you want to exercise in the morning, or set a timer for just 10 minutes of focused work so your brain doesn't get overwhelmed, and reward yourself for sticking with it, even if it's just a gold star in your notebook or a quick happy dance in the kitchen. The trick isn't to make massive changes all at once. It's to create small, repeatable actions that become so much a part of your day that you do them without thinking. And over time, those tiny habits add up to huge results. The people you see crushing their goals aren't superhuman. They're just really good at making their daily decisions easier. And the less you have to think about what comes next, the more energy you have left to actually do the work. So, instead of chasing motivation like it's a runaway train, focus on building systems that keep you moving forward, no matter how you feel, because that's what separates the people who get things done from the people who are still waiting to feel ready. If you want to get ahead, you have to guard your focus like it's your most valuable asset, because in a world full of endless notifications, social media rabbit holes, and non-stop noise, your attention is being pulled in 100 directions every hour. Studies have shown that the average person checks their phone nearly 100 times a day, which is wild when you think about how much that breaks up your day and steals time from what really matters to you. Most people don't realize how much their dreams are leaking away minute by minute because of tiny distractions that add up to hours every week, and before they know it, they're stuck in the same spot, wondering why nothing changes. The difference between the people who move forward and the people who stay stuck isn't talent or luck, it's the ability to cut out distractions and lock in on what matters most, even when it's not easy. One of the simplest ways to build focus is to use time blocks, where you set a timer for a short burst of deep work, maybe 20 or 30 minutes, and do nothing else but the one thing that matters most. And if you get distracted, you gently bring your mind back and keep going. Another trick is to make your environment work for you. Put your phone in another room, clean up your workspace, or let your friends know you're off the grid for a little while, so your brain isn't tempted to wander. Remember, multitasking is mostly a myth, because your brain can't fully focus on more than one thing at a time, and when you try, you just end up doing everything a little bit worse. So give yourself permission to do one thing well, even if it means saying no to other things for a while. The more you practice focusing, the easier it gets, and you'll be shocked at how much more you can get done in a single focused hour than in a whole distracted day. So treat your attention like gold, because that's what it is. There's something powerful about putting your head down and grinding when nobody's watching, because when you stop announcing your plans and just get to work, you free yourself from the pressure of other people's expectations, and suddenly, it's just you and your goals, no extra noise. A lot of people burn out or lose momentum because they get hooked on sharing every step of their journey, posting every win online, hoping for a quick hit of likes or applause, but real progress happens quietly, behind the scenes, in those moments when nobody knows what you're building except you. Think about the most successful people you know. They rarely brag about their next move. They let their actions do all the talking, and when they finally do share what they've been working on, it's already undeniable, because the results speak louder than any hype ever could. When you keep your focus on progress instead of perception, you stop needing outside validation to feel good about yourself, and you start doing things for the right reasons, because you want to grow, not because you want to be seen. This doesn't mean you never share your journey or celebrate your wins, but it means your main source of motivation isn't public applause. It's the satisfaction that comes from seeing yourself improve, little by little, even when nobody else is paying attention. So if you want to protect your energy, stay focused, and keep making progress no matter what, try working in silence for a while and let your results do the talking. Because there's nothing more impressive than quietly showing up every day and becoming so good at what you do that people can't help but notice. Here's the deal. No one else will ever push you as hard as you can push yourself. And if you're always waiting for someone to hold you accountable or give you that extra nudge, you'll never know what you're truly capable of. The truth is, most people settle for good enough the minute things get uncomfortable, but the ones who actually break through to the next level are the ones who get comfortable being uncomfortable and keep going long after everyone else has stopped. Think of the last time you wanted to quit. Maybe you were tired, frustrated, or just not seeing results, but if you'd given up, you'd never know how close you were to a breakthrough, because progress usually shows up right after you've pushed through your hardest days. Setting ridiculously high standards for yourself might sound intense, but it's the best way to make sure you never settle for less than you can be. And even if people don't understand why you're working so hard, it's not their job to get it. It's yours to prove to yourself that you're not here to be average. Try this challenge. Just for one day, refuse to complain, refuse to cut corners, and refuse to let yourself off the hook, and see how much more you can get done when you hold yourself to the highest standard you can imagine. That's how champions are made, not by talent alone, but by the relentless decision to keep showing up, keep working, and keep raising the bar, no matter who's watching or what anyone else expects. So next time you think you've reached your limit, remind yourself that your best work usually starts right where your comfort zone ends, and if you keep pushing, you'll surprise yourself with just how far you can go. Most people walk through life believing that everyone is watching their every move, judging their mistakes, or keeping score. But the truth is, everyone else is just as caught up in their own struggles and dreams as you are, which means you're free to try, to fail, to get back up and try again, without worrying about what anyone thinks. It's like being on a stage in an empty theater. You can experiment, mess up, start over, and nobody's in the audience taking notes, because they're all backstage dealing with their own scripts. This isn't a reason to slack off or hide from your goals. It's actually a huge advantage, because when you finally let go of the fear of judgment, you can focus all your energy on getting better, not just looking good. People might notice your progress for a second, but then life pulls them back into their own world, and you're the only one who gets to see the whole journey, so why not make it a journey you're proud of? When you work for yourself instead of applause, you start to care more about real growth and less about quick recognition, and over time, that mindset turns into your superpower, letting you try new things, take risks, and move faster than the people still waiting for permission. So next time you worry about messing up or falling behind, remember, nobody's keeping score but you, and that means you get to decide what winning looks like every single day. If you're ready to stop waiting and start moving, here are a few simple tools you can use to build real progress, even when nobody's watching or cheering you on. First, start every day with a quick self-check-in. Just ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do today that will actually move me forward? And write it down, even if it's small, because action creates momentum, and tiny steps add up. Second, set up your environment to make success the default, so put your phone out of reach during work. Keep a water bottle and a notebook close, and surround yourself with little reminders of why you started, because when your space is set up for progress, excuses have nowhere to hide. Third, find an accountability partner or community, but don't rely on them to motivate you. Instead, use them to check in, share your wins, and challenge each other to keep showing up, because accountability is about support, not permission. Fourth, use habit trackers or checklists to see your progress over time, and give yourself credit for every day you stick with it, because the visual proof that you're showing up, even on hard days, can be the push you need to keep going. Finally, have a simple script for the tough days, something you say to yourself when you want to quit, like, I don't have to be perfect, I just have to keep going, or this is the part where most people give up, but not me. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about refusing to stop, even when progress feels slow. And when you stack these small wins, day after day, you build the kind of momentum that nobody can take from you. There's a point in everyone's journey where you have to make a decision. Are you going to keep blaming the world for what's not working, or are you finally going to own everything? The good, the bad, and everything in between. Victim thinking is sneaky. It creeps in when things get tough, whispering that it's not your fault, that you'd do better if only things were easier. But that mindset steals your power and keeps you stuck waiting for life to change on its own. Ownership is different. It means looking at every situation, even the stuff you didn't cause or can't control, and asking, what can I do about it right now? That shift is where your freedom starts, because the moment you stop pointing fingers and start taking responsibility, you become the driver instead of the passenger in your own life. It doesn't mean you have to pretend everything is perfect or ignore real problems. It just means you stop waiting for the world to fix things and start doing what you can with what you have today. Try this. Next time something goes wrong, skip the blame game and look for one thing you can change or one action you can take, because those tiny decisions, made over and over, will stack up and move your whole life in a new direction. When you shift from victim to owner, setbacks become lessons, obstacles become stepping stones, and your future is something you get to build, not something you just hope will work out, and that's a power nobody can give you or take away. Even when you know all the right things, take action, build habits, work in silence. It's still way too easy to fall back into the old pattern of waiting, doubting, and wishing things were different. The biggest problem isn't a lack of information. It's that every time life gets a little hard or lonely, that old voice creeps in, telling you it's pointless to keep going, or that nobody will notice if you give up. You start out strong. Maybe you set a big goal or try to change your routine, but then you hit a rough patch, the results are slow, or you feel misunderstood, and suddenly it's tempting to slip right back into old habits, put things off, or just quit quietly. It's like you're running in circles, doing all the work for a few days, then losing steam and ending up exactly where you started, and every round chips away at your confidence, making it feel harder to try again. That's the trap that catches almost everyone. The pain of starting over and the fear that this time won't be any different. But if you don't break the cycle, you end up wasting months or even years waiting for the right moment that never comes. So, what does it actually take to break free and finally make real progress that lasts, even when it feels like the world is silent or you're on your own? To break out of that cycle, you need more than just willpower, because habits are sticky and setbacks feel heavier when you're doing it alone. But that's exactly